So,
All right.
Banks,
Got music.
we are
I'm just checking the mic, that's all.
we're open for our meeting for the April 17th meeting. And before we get started, would everyone please just put your telephone on silent and for a few minutes, and we'll open up with Timothy Jenkins saying the prayer, along with Will leading the pledge.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Everybody please rise. Timothy, to the podium.
Dear Lord, I just want to thank you for this beautiful day that we woke up to this morning, and just ask you to be with all of us throughout the day. I just ask you to be with the storm victims over the last few weeks, to lift them up and to lift their communities up. And I ask you also to be with the Board of Supervisors today, to be diligent in their duties for us, as at the same time that we do what we can as citizens of the county. In your name we pray. Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first on the agenda,
Are they back in the drawer?
Mr. Lott.
Yes, Mr. President, I have before you in hard copy and on your iPads, the April the 3rd, 2023 board minutes. I would ask if there are no changes, the board please approve said minutes.
Are there any changes? Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion for approval by Supervisor Jones. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Supervisor Banks. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed. Concerned citizens?
Just the ones on the agenda, sir.
Okay, we have, who's that, Ms. Lewis? Yes, ma'am.
I'm not Rashina Lewis, but I'm her mother, Stephanie Lewis. She was unable to be here today.
Ma'am, come up to the microphone.
So you're gonna come and speak on her behalf?
Yes, if that's
Okay.
okay.
Please come and, speak and give your name, address, in 2 minutes, ma'am.
Okay, my name is Stephanie Lewis. Like I said, I'm Rashina Lewis' mother. I am from Florida, but she's from Glussack. And her concern was the drainage problem in Harvey Crossing. She had spoke with Tim, and I spoke with him also, and Paul Griffin. She reached out to him several times, email, and he only responded one time. And so her concern was, what are the plans moving forward due to the problem that she's having with the water settling in front of her driveway and just the road in general?
Okay.
What street does she live on?
Harvey Crossing.
Live on Harvey Cross. Mm-hmm.
Is she the only one that's having drainage problems?
Yes, and it's really bad. I spoke
Why?
with Tim, like I said, and he sent Brad out. I believe his name is Brad.
Okay.
And he told me that he was gonna forward pictures over to Paul, and Rashina did as well, and we just hadn't heard any feedback on that.
Got it. Thank you.
Supervisor Griffin, I think you're familiar with this. Maybe
Yeah,
we'll
I'm
ask Tim to
gonna
come up.
turn it over to Tim, let him
Okay.
tell us what he found out there.
Okay. Ma'am, if you would, let Tim
Okay.
speak right there, and we'll see.
We have been out there and looked at it. It's one of the things that we call the bird baths. As you know, the street has sunk a little bit in front of her driveway. It's not just her driveway. It's both sides of the road have
Right.
standing water in it, so we would have to fix both sides. You're looking at a $40,000 to $50,000 job is what these things cost, because there's several hundred feet of curb that has to be replaced to get it to flow again, because it's sunk, and then you got to bring it back up to where this grade's higher than this grade on both sides. So it can be fixed, but it's just going to take some allocated funds to do so.
Okay.
So you're saying it can be fixed permanently? It's not going to sink again?
I can't promise it's not going to sink again.
Okay.
But-
Thank you.
Are we already preparing to fix a location out there right now, Tim?
We've got 4 locations that we are doing various things in Harvey Crossing. We're doing something similar to what Ms. Lewis is asking for on Middlefield. And then we've got 2 other areas on Middlefield that we've got sinkholes around curb drains. And then we just, Cornelius's crew just unstopped a pipe out there that was causing some flooding on West Elbridge.
Who was the developer for Harvey Crossing? Does anybody know?
I can't remember.
No, it's
many
one of the
years
older.
Mark Jordan.
It's
I'm sorry, what? Everybody's talking at the
It
same
was
time.
Mark Jordan's development.
Mike who?
Mark.
Mark Jordan.
Mark Jordan, okay.
Well, I suggest this, can you bring us back an estimate cost on that?
Sure. We ran the numbers. It's going to be between 40 and 50. Just
40 and 50,000?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Tim, are there others out there as well that you?
There are.
said?
This isn't the only one. I mean, there's of course the one on Middlefield, and there's this one, and then there's a couple more in the neighborhood as well.
I would suggest just look at the others and just see what kind of cost are we looking.
Total cost for them. Okay.
I know that, I guess here the next couple of 3 years, we're getting ready to spend a good bit of money, you know, and as far as taking care of flooding issues. Of course, this is totally separate, but I know we're
Correct.
getting ready to spend, you know, the $24 million that Mr. Espy helped us to get from the Fed. So I would suggest just look at some of the others out there and bring back to us.
Will do.
I think Gerald Millfield has already been funded.
Correct. It has been.
Harvey Crossing, it was the first time me hearing about it a few weeks ago. And when, at that time, Millfield was already in the pipeline. So, definitely, ma'am, on your daughter wise, I thought we were talking about Millfield, and she was talking about Harvard Crossing, and I thought she was talking about Harvard Crossing subdivision, because the subdivision is named that also. So now, basically, Tim, kind of see what else out there. So we'll have everything that we're looking at. I ain't say we're gonna fix everything, because it come down to a dollar wise. But there is a study being put out. There was a big meeting last week that Gerald, Carl, and myself was here in the city of Kent, that this watershed program will help Deerfield and Harvard Crossing with the overall flooding that's in that area, all the way to Gustack, all the way to Kent. So we doing the big picture of it, but I know you all are looking at the small picture of getting the water right off your street now. We're gonna help you as much as you can, but you got to keep in mind, I have a whole lot of subdivisions in my district, and we can't just fix everything in one subdivision in 1 year and do nothing to the other one. But we're gonna help you out as much as we can.
One thing I want to add that I just forgot, not this past Thursday, but the Thursday before, I spent about an hour riding around Harvey Crossing with the HOA president, pointing out several things, and 3 of those we're going to get to. I told him we'd get to them last week, but the rain put us back a little bit. We're going to get to them this week. One of those is a patched area, some grassing, and then there's a couple of curb inlets in there that need to be welded back. So we're going to get those as well.
Okay, outstanding.
Thank you, Tim. Paul, anything else on that?
Just get back with them, Tim, after you come up with whatever else on out there at Harvey Crossing. Both us. All right.
Okay.
Okay, next on the list is the Final Span LLC.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
All right. My name is Gene Logan. I'm the CEO of Final Span. We're a new fiber optic ISP headquartered in Ridgeland, Mississippi. We have an 8-county plan We're gonna start in Warren County first. Well, we selected 57 low-income units to provide broadband to the underserved and unserved. So if there are any problems or the county has any issues in broadband, we'll be here to provide the service.
And what kind of, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
What kind of service are you?
Fiber optic,
Underground?
underground area. It just depends on what location. Yep. We currently have Wagner Engineering doing our plans for Warren County.
Okay.
Yep.
Have you talked to our county engineer?
I think I've spoken to Tim. Is it
Yeah.
Tim?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes, he gave me
Okay.
his contact information, yes.
And where you see you all located?
Out originally at 1000 Howling Colony Parkway. We are headquartered there, but our first deployment would be in Warren County.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Leave your information with Greg.
I think I passed you.
You did, you give a book out.
Okay.
A pamphlet,
Okay.
will. Okay, thank you. Next, Jim Buckley.
Morning.
Good morning.
On the 23rd of March of this year, I was driving down Barnes Road, and I hit the side of the road where it washed off, and I busted a tire on my car and a strut. And I'd like to submit this to be reimbursed for it. It's pretty bad. It's washed off. It's about a 4-foot drop off now. It's really bad out there. It needs to be repaired.
Do you have any pictures?
Excuse me?
Have any pictures of it?
I couldn't hear. Pictures. Oh, yes.
Tim, are you familiar with this as well?
I missed the location.
Barnes
Barnes
Road.
Road.
I'm not.
He's got some pictures. he
Cornelius,
says.
you aware of it?
Well, shoot.
Mike, while he's doing that, or Greg, what is our, again, remind us of our policy on this?
Yeah,
I know
file
this
with
comes up
insurance.
every now and then, and we have a policy, or we adopted a policy.
Well, it's really a county issue where the damage is really caused by a clear county problem, like a road being washed out that approximately caused the damage. Then usually we send it to the insurance company if it's not, if it's a small amount of money, we'll do it. If it's a large amount of money, we'll submit it for a claim.
But I think we have a policy in place that
Yep, we do.
that we need to look at before any decisions is made to ensure that we're treating everyone the same.
We do have a policy in place.
Cross-train under this, huh?
Yeah, that's definitely something that Tim needs to look at.
How long's it been that way?
Been about 3 weeks now.
Okay, did you call
It's
it
really
in?
bad now. It's a 4-foot drop off there. Somebody
Call
hit.
it in?
Ma'am,
Did you call it in when you saw it?
I couldn't hear.
Did you call the county?
Yes, I had to have a tire and a
I know,
strut.
but did you call it in when you saw it? Did you see it before you hit it? I mean,
I called it in,
okay, good deal.
You call it the road department, or sheriff's department, or who?
I called the county supervisors department, who I called, and told them
I'm
about it.
calling me.
All right, if,
That
recall
would have
that.
been after the damage to the tire. I don't believe a call was made to the county prior to
No.
the damage. No, this is after the,
When you see things like that, go
Okay.
ahead and report them before you have an accident. We can fix it before you have an accident, you know? Yeah.
We gonna let him work with Greg and
that's right.
Mike.
Yeah, let's look at our policy and if you will, just work with Greg, our administrator, and see what our policy, remind us what our policy says about that.
All right,
I've got your contact information. I
Have
do.
your number?
sir.
Do we have your number? Your
Yes, yes. We've got your phone number. We'll get it squared away. We'll be in touch. Yes, sir.
Greg, are there other concerned citizens that you may have?
No, sir.
Okay. If not, we'll come down to item 4. Jan?
Yeah. Before Jan come up, Cornelius, can you make sure you find that spot where you talking about, and let's try to get it fixed?
All right, Jan?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. President and Board.
Miss Jan.
Hey, I'm Jan Collins, Executive Director of the Madison County Business League and Foundation, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak to the board this morning. This is the 10th year the economic development support organizations of the county have collaborated to celebrate and commemorate the outstanding work of the municipal and county law enforcement officers and first responders in Madison County. We are inviting our business community, schools, churches, organizations, and individuals to recognize our law enforcement officers for their dedication and commitment to the protection of the citizens of Madison County. Recognizing the importance of safe communities and its impact on economic development and quality of life, we request the board's approval of a resolution proclaiming May 14th through 20th, 2023 as Madison County Law Enforcement Appreciation Week.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Supervisor Baxter, second from Supervisor Jones. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. All
Thank you
opposed?
very much.
Thank you, Jan.
Thank you.
Okay, next I'd like to call Scott.
This is on the public hearing, so we'll have to open a public hearing and
Right.
move forward.
Motion to open a public hearing.
Guys, let's wait and see what Scott.
This is a continuance. They're asking for a continuance on this hearing to May 15th.
Okay. Do I have a motion to continue to May the 15th?
Motion.
Got a motion from Supervisor Griffin, second from Supervisor Banks. Discussion?
Why are we going to the 15th? Why are we going to do it on the 15th?
That was just a request for them to,
Okay.
they just wanted to
Okay, got it. Okay.
move it forward a little bit.
Both sides have talked, and they
Oh,
got
okay.
more things to discuss.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Maybe we can
All right.
work it
All in favor?
out. Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Consent items? Do we, any items anyone would like to remove? If not, do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion Supervisor Banks, I'll second. Discussion? All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. We'll come down to supervisors. Supervisor Banks?
It seems that a Clifton Nelson was on the committee advisory board for Madison County, and he's turned his resignation in. So I'd like to accept his resignation, make a motion to accept his resignation, and I'll see if we'll make an appointment by the first Monday of May.
Okay, we got a motion from Supervisor Banks, second from Supervisor Griffin to accept Clifton Nelson's resignation to the Community Advisory Board. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. All opposed? Thank you. Okay, business items. Ms. Pat Truesdale, Election Commissioner.
Good morning, Board.
Good morning.
You have in your packet, we have gotten an estimate for moving the election, well, delivering the election equipment and then picking it back up on the following Wednesday. And we went ahead and got in case we have a runoff, we feel sure we will. It probably will not include all 43 counties, but we do not, precincts, but we don't know if, at this time, until the election is held, what's going to be. So we were getting the approval, and if we find out that we're only using a certain number, I'll go back to them and get an adjusted quote for the, fewer precincts than the 43. And so we're bringing that to you for authorization to proceed, and we can we have looked diligently trying to find other methods to move our election equipment safely to the precincts. And we sure appreciate the board allowing the road department to help us, because that's the only way for that to happen. And we are willing to go other directions if you have suggestions. But right now, this is what we have been able to get quotes from people on, and I am asking for approval for that.
And Pat, you're also, I hear you say you're also asking for 3 or 4 men from the road
Yes.
department for
Yes.
that day as well.
That day. Well, the 2 days,
Or
the
the 2
Monday
days.
and Wednesday, yes.
Okay. What's the will of the board?
Move.
I second it, and this here gonna be, these 2 or 3 people from the road department, they gonna be what, offloading, what?
They're going to be helping us unload the truck. The moving people,
Just gonna drive the truck and stop there?
yes.
Yeah. They need some manpower to unload and load. Manpower
In a
to
perfect
unload
world, the
it.
county, if we had 3 big 20-foot air ride lift gate trucks, I mean, we'd be able to do it ourselves, but this is the only way I can figure out to make it happen.
And board, we did explore purchasing those trucks, but they were cost prohibitive.
But just
Yeah.
They were
saying
75
they
grand a
take,
piece or
they
something.
have 3?
3 trucks, yes.
Can we not rent those trucks as well?
If they are available, but a lot of the rental companies are hesitant to guarantee that we can have them. They'll say, we may not have but 2. And then that gets us where we can't operate if we don't have 3.
Right.
Yeah. All right, got a motion. It's
All right, we got a motion Supervisor Banks, second Supervisor Griffin. And again, this includes 2 people per truck or 3 people?
Yes,
Road
2.
department?
Yes, total of 6.
Okay. Discussion? Any other discussion? If not, all in favor? Say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Pat. Okay, County Engineer Tim?
Y'all bear with me, I'm gonna be here a while.
Yes, see? Yes.
Union Parkway Phase 2.
And this is update on the 3 projects that we have on the south end of the
Correct.
county.
I want to give a little update because we have received bids on Reunion 3. So we have up-to-date unit prices on all of these projects. So we've had to update our numbers, and they have increased some. So with that, I want to go through Reunion Crossing Phase 2, which is the one you see here, which is the new roadway going from going from Parkway East to Highway 51. It is an estimated project of 34 point. Let me start over,
Yeah.
because I'm in the wrong place.
Yeah.
This is Reunion 2. It is going from Bozeman to Parkway East. Sorry. All right, it is an estimated construction cost of an estimated total cost of $34.5 million. It's an estimated construction cost of $29.5 million. This is up about $6 million from where we were before we got these numbers. So the project should award very soon. I've got an agenda item before you today to buy some mitigation credits for the wetlands. This is the last thing that we're waiting on. The Corps permit will be approved once these mitigation credits have been authorized and sent back to them. And then I would estimate in a week or 2 after that, we'll have a authorization to advertise from MDOT. So we're very close. And once that happens, that project will probably take around 2 years to complete. And so I would say in August of this year, we'll be fully under construction with that project.
Okay. And you say the project numbers update has gone up about 5-6 million?
Correct.
And that's just from inflation or?
Yes, that's inflation. That's all it is. That's increased material price and increased price that people are having to pay employees.
Okay. Tim, are you finished with that one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you mind turning it around for the camera and then,
Mm-hmm.
Now, this one is Reunion 3. This one is the one going from Parkway East to Highway 51. This is a $27.7 million project with a construction budget of $22.7. This is a known budget. We have bid this project. Bids came in at $22.7. So this is the project that we took the estimates for the other two off of to get the numbers. This one should begin in May? Yeah, May, June timeframe. We've got contracts in place. They've been signed. We're in the very final stages of issuing a notice to proceed. In fact, we've already had the pre-construction conference, so this one should be going very soon.
Okay.
Any questions on this one?
And so that one come close to budget within $1 million or less.
It did. We had updated this one beforehand some, but yes, it was over what was initially expected as well.
Okay. Thank you.
These days, don't it?
Yep. Inflation is definitely working.
All right. This moves on to the Bozeman Road project, and this is a two-phase project. Phase 1 is estimated at $32 million with a $25 million construction cost. With the PS&E has been submitted, which is the plan specs and engineer's estimate. It's been submitted to MDOT. The Corps permit has been approved for this one, so we expect to get permission to advertise for this one about the same time we do Reunion 2. So this first project will take us from Highway 463 up to Reunion Parkway with a 5-lane section similar to Highland Colony. We'll also do some intersection improvements at Gluckstadt Road as well as Belterre. And then Phase 2, which will be coming in behind it, it's in the very initial design stages at this point. It's estimated to be a $16 million project with probably $13 million in estimated construction cost. That one is probably 1.5 years to 2 years out before we begin construction on it, and I would imagine it will start up about the time Bozeman 1 ends.
Okay. And the total of these three projects are?
The total of these three are 110,200. 110 million. Excuse me, 110,200,000.
Okay.
And of that, about 55 million is coming from the county, and the remaining amount is coming, so it's about 50-50.
Okay, at this point, that includes the money, the 12 million we received from the state this past session.
Yes.
So we're still short around 50
Yes.
million, 45, 50 million.
Yes, we're short about 45 million. We have spent about 10 million so far on these projects, so that's the 55 million. But
And
we're
that's
short
the-
about 45.
And that's the skin that the county has right
Correct.
now in the game for all 3 or 4 of those projects.
Yes, all 4 of them.
Okay. Are there other questions? Yes.
I've got a comment on Phase 1. I want to remind the board and inform the public that on Phase 1, we bought the right-of-way.
Right.
The assessed value of the right-of-way, the estimate, we paid it. But we were in litigation with Community Bank for an amount way that far exceeded the estimated value of that area along 463 and Bozeman Road.
Right.
So we had 2 trials. The first trial was suspended because a juror got COVID. So we had a second trial before last Christmas. And in my estimation, we won that trial because the jury returned a verdict of 0 damages. The issue is whether or not Community Bank would have ingress and egress from their land. And they said they didn't, and we said they did.
Right.
So the jury found $0 for them. But because the jury form was incorrect, they put the 0 in the wrong space.
Oh, Lord.
The judge of the eminent domain special court ordered a new trial,
A totally new trial.
total new trial.
And what judge did?
Judge Hannon.
Judge Hannon.
So you authorize us to appeal the judge's order, and so
Yeah.
that appeal is now in the Mississippi Supreme Court. So, me and Baker's asking for $1.4 million in damages when the value of the land was like $181,000. So that is a asterisk on this.
That's true.
We totally oppose the judge's reasoning, and we don't want a third trial.
Right.
So we've opposed it, and so we're appealing. So that is a $1.4 million notation on what you just said.
Right, and that is not included in my number.
It is
Right.
not. It should be.
Okay. Thank you, Mike, for that update. Tim? You,
Are we moving on? or-
I think we're moving on.
Okay. All right, next item I have is the final plat for Springwood Phase 1. Development's 12 lots on 112.24 acres with no public infrastructure associated with it.
Do I have a motion? Motion Supervisor Banks, second Supervisor Griffin. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Next item I have is the PSC transmittal letter. This is the letter that we have to submit to MDOT for all the projects saying that we agree to pay everything over the MPO money that MDOT has put in. That does not say that, on this project, we have state money and we have some other federal money. That's not saying we can't use that. It's just saying that of the MPO money, we agree to pay anything over it.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion Supervisor Jones. Do I have a second?
Supervisor Baxter did.
Second.
Trey,
All right.
seconded it.
If you would, speak in the mic a little closer if you don't mind. This second Supervisor Baxter. Discussion? All in favor? Say aye. Aye. All opposed?
All right, next item I have is the request of the board to authorize the advertisement of Bozeman Road Phase 1 pending MDOT concurrence.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion Supervisor Baxter.
Second.
Second by Supervisor Banks. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
All right, next item I have is a request for the board to authorize a sole source purchase. This came before the board either last board meeting or one before. It's with Tri-State Trucks. Tri-State Trucks is the only dealer in the state that works on Mack trucks. And we've got 2 trucks down. We've got one in my department, we've got one in the road department that we need to get fixed. So I ask the board to declare that this is a sole source purchase.
Move.
Got a motion Supervisor Banks, second Supervisor Griffin. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
All right, and then I've got,
Can we perhaps break that out into 2 motions? The first being the sole source declaration and the second being
Yeah.
an authorization to purchase?
guess what I was about
I
to
move on sole source declaration.
All right, Tim, is that where you was headed?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That's where I was headed with the next one. Next, I've got 2 quotes from Tri-State. The first is for $5,642.32, and the second one is for $5,675.04. These are for 2 different trucks. We ask that the board approve these estimates for us to issue POs.
And move
Got a
on to 2
motion
trucks.
Supervisor Banks, second Supervisor Griffin. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. All opposed?
All right, next item I have is the item I was talking about earlier. This is the mitigation credits for the wetlands that we're going to be impacting on Reunion Parkway Phase 2.
Motion.
Got a motion Supervisor Jones, second Supervisor Baxter. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Next item I have is a utility agreement with Texas Eastern. We're going to be crossing Texas Eastern's easement, and since we are crossing their easement, it's on us to pay the amount for any modifications that are needed to their line. So this agreement, in addition to the legalities of us crossing their line, also obligates the board to pay an estimated $300,000 in modifications to their line. Now, that is not a set number. It could come in higher, it could come in lower, but that is, when it finally comes in, we'll bring that back before the board. But Mike has reviewed this, and unless I'm wrong, is okay with it. So we ask the board to.
Yes.
Okay, do I have a motion for approval? Motion Supervisor Baxter. Do I have a second? The second Supervisor Jones, discussion. All in favor? Say aye. All opposed?
All right, last item I have is the engineering presentations that we mentioned at the last board meeting. These are the two engineers that will be presenting on the Cotton Blossom Road project. We've asked that they limit their comments to 10 minutes at the most, with a 5-minute period for you all to ask questions. So with that, the first engineer that has been asked to present is Stantec, and they will be coming up now.
Okay. Thank you, Tim.
If you will, take that down.
Yeah. Okay, John, would you, if you would, state your name and address, and then you could proceed.
Okay.
Proceed on.
I'm John McKee. I live at 131 Johnstone Drive in Madison. All right, we appreciate being here today, and thank you for letting us be before you to talk about the Cotton Blossom Roadway project and tell you why we think we're the best firm for the project. With me today, I have Brad Ingles and Brad Fletcher. Their faces you probably recognize. You've seen us around taking care of your other projects. But we appreciate the opportunity to tell you today about our abilities, our experience, and our people, and why we think we're the best choice. And what it comes down to is we deliver. As you can tell from this list of projects we performed for you, there's about 18 up here today that we have built or are in the construction phase working on these for you. When it comes to doing these projects, we know what we're doing. This is what we do every day. We focus on transportation projects. That's what our firm is about here in Mississippi. I'd point out, you were just talking about the Reunion Parkway project. Phase 3, we're proud of that project because if you think about the major projects you've had over the years, that is the first project to be brought to you for construction. We were just talking about it'll start next month or so. And that brings us a lot of pride when we arrive first. So we'd point that out to you. Also, when you look at this, we've delivered more than half of these as state aid bridge projects. You all have been on the board long enough to know what state aid fees are like. Our goal going into these projects is to lose as little money as possible. So why do we keep doing them for you? I mean, it's just so much that state aid requires. There's no way to make money on a bridge project. Why do we keep doing it for you? There's a lot of personal satisfaction. You know, I've heard people make fun of engineers, and they say if you want to get an engineer to do something that they may or may not want to do, just tell them it's impossible, and then they'll sure want to try to do it. And that's kind of where we are with state aid. But there's another reason that we like to do your state aid projects for you. It keeps us in front of you. It lets you know how we perform and what we can do and what we've done for you time and time and time again. We know how to handle your projects, and we know how to deliver them for you. It's who we are, it's what we do. There's not a lot of glory in those state aid projects, but I promise you one thing, there's a lot of satisfaction, personal satisfaction, when we build that project, put it in service, and we see those school buses, trucks, and cars going across it, knowing they're safe and they got a nice, modern facility to use. So we deliver. Now, how are we going to deliver for you on the Cotton Blossom Roadway project? Brad, if you'll change that slide. This is the organizational chart you saw in our proposal. This is our team. We think it's second to none. Everybody on this board knows what they're doing, and they do it every day. If you'll notice all the PEs after all the names, a lot of engineers will be working on this. We have all the certifications. We have all of the licenses, the educations, and we have the experience, and so do our subs. They've all been involved in environmental, geotechnical, and right-of-way acquisition for years in front of you. They know this area. They know what to do. Again, they do it every day. Something else we bring to the process that is invaluable at times are the relationships that we have with the governing agencies. Many of our people with that PE after their name started out at MDOT. They worked there for years. Brad, how long were you at MDOT? 14 years, started in roadway design. We know the people. We know who to talk to. We know MDOT from the first floor to the 10th floor. We know the people that make decisions, and it really is invaluable when you run up on a project that has a challenge to it or something raises its head that's unexpected, and you can call those people and say, hey, have you dealt with this before? Can you help us with this? Those relationships have helped us on Madison County projects in the past greatly. So those relationships come into play quite often. And it's not just MDOT, it's any kind of funding that you run into and that you use out there. We've done that, and we know how to make that happen. So speaking of funding, we also know that it doesn't matter how good your project is, how good your people are, or anything else. If you don't have the funding in place, it's not going to happen. Again, we know how to deliver on that. We've been working with clients for years. We've been to D.C., we've been to the state legislature. We've done that. We've made that happen on projects in the past. You're also very fortunate to have two very good lobbyists, Butler Snow, Tommy Card and his group. I've worked with Tommy for years, know him personally. You also have Clearwater. Michael Good and his folks know what they're doing. You also have a good economic development director that knows what he's doing. We can work with all of those people. CMPDD, we know those people up there, worked with them for many years. We know their staffs inside and out. But we also have another asset that we'd like to tell you about today. Stantec has over 500 people in the Washington, D.C. area on staff that are funding specialists. They're not all 500, but we have a fellow by the name of David Goldwater. He's at 14th Street. His office is there, and that office is funding specialist. They know the decision makers. They know the elected officials. They have relationships with them. They are not there just once a month or even once a week. They are there every day doing their job. Everybody in that office knows how important it is to get your projects funded. So we have the ability to deliver from day one all the way through to completion of construction, including your funding. Now you ask, well, do they know what they're doing? How successful have they been? If you look at that number right there, you've been talking about millions. This is $6 billion they brought in on projects. The teams that Stantec has supported through this office in Washington, D.C. has brought $6 billion to clients. So we stand before you today to tell you that we have the ability to deliver on the Cotton Blossom Roadway project. In closing, I don't know how much time we got left, but in closing, I would ask you to consider past successes, our experience, and our resources. If you're looking for a team that will give you exceptional design, the know-how to get through the approval processes, and has the most resources in place to help you get this project funded and built, then I tell you with confidence that the Stantec team is ready and we will deliver. Now, with that said, I think you have some time set up for questions. We'll be glad to try to answer those. And we also have some leave-behinds that are just these slides, copies of those to let you have to look at later if you'd like to.
Okay. Thank you, John. Are there questions for Stantec?
Well, I was looking at the list, the first list he put up of projects.
Yes, sir.
And I was missing one.
There may be some we didn't get on that board. We only had 10 minutes, we only had a board this size, so it may be some we're missing.
Yeah, the 463 Stribling Road intersection is not.
That's another good example of those relationships we were talking about. That was a project that started off in the county. We met with MDOT, and with your help, they have now taken that project over. And so that's a good example. I appreciate you bringing that up,
okay,
Mr. Banks.
Mm-hmm.
John, I'm looking locally and looking for Madison County only. You know, that's where I'm looking for. And we just heard from Tim, my county engineer, talking about inflation, and inflation hits everyone, you know, everywhere. And we do have an inflation very much on the numbers on the south end. And y'all are the engineer for the Phase 3 from Parkway East to Highway 51. How much money have y'all helped the county to secure for that project? outside of the MDOT money that was secured earlier on before I think y'all may have taken the project.
I think that your lobbyists have done the legwork on that and have gotten that for you. We've never been invited to help you with funding before. We've never been to the point where you said, okay, we've got a new project right here. What can you do? Where can you take it? I think if you look at the resources we have, not only to start a project and get it to construction, 500 people in the metro area. We have an office in D.C. that specializes in it. That's on the federal level. David Goldwater knows what he's doing. He has the relationships. He's a funding specialist that we help clients with every day. We also just met the other day with the legislature and people up there, the decision makers, along with some of the city representatives we were helping to secure money. So to answer your question, we have the ability. Did we go and get money for the other project? No, no one asked us to, because your lobbyists were working on that, which is what they're supposed to be doing, and they did a good job for you.
No one, yeah, because we haven't received any money for that project yet, for Phase 3. I mean, besides the MDOT money, we haven't received any. And, you know, if you got to be asked on a $20 million project that you have, I think it would be, and I'm going to ask the other engineers this as well, because engineering companies are good. Both of y'all that's coming in today, there's no doubt that you can handle the projects. It boils down to me is who can help us get the money. And so if you're going to need to be asked to be involved now, hey, we would ask you, because we're still short several millions for Phase 3, the project that y'all are working on for the county. So, hey, I'm asking you now.
We stand ready, and we will be glad to help you with that. There's a fine line for engineers and a very defined line along funding lines. If you're going to be ethical about all that, you have to be careful and walk that line. We will do that. But we have the resources federally, and we have also local resources, and we can work with your lobbyists well. You're very well represented in that area. So I don't see that being a problem at all, and we'll be glad to do that and appreciate the invitation.
Well, I would ask,
I got a question, Mr. President.
hold on one second. I would ask you to contact our lobbyists.
Now,
Both.
Brad,
And
we've met with Clearwater on several occasions, you and me, and I believe that $12 million that was rewarded to us is for the network, the road network, correct?
Brad saying yes.
Yeah, I believe that was for all.
So that's for Reunion 3 too.
Yes.
I don't believe it was for the network. I think it was for Bozeman and Reunion Crossing. And it boils down to money, as we talking about. And again, I'm going to ask the other engineers the same question, because it boils down to money to me.
Well, Mr. President, you all was in here when Tim was showing the reunion deal.
Yes, sir.
Cotton Blossom would be basically the same.
That's correct.
Because you're looking going from 43 to what, North Okan on to 51. Big dollar project.
Yes, sir.
And out of my engineer, what I would be looking for, because both of the one that's here now, I think are both well-qualified engineers, would be to assemble a team, board supervisors, engineer, lobbyists, whoever else, for us to go to the state and lobby hard for money, to go to Washington and lobby hard for money. If you would put that list back up there, of the people that you have in Washington.
Yeah, put it there.
That's it there?
Oh, in Washington?
Yes.
This is the board for the people in Washington right here. We did not show them on our org chart. It didn't seem like the RFP was asking for lobbyists or help with funding. But
no, I'm talking about if we put a team here together in Madison County.
Yes, sir.
To go to Washington to see our congressmen and senators and whoever else issue out the money, are your team gonna meet us up there and get us and help us get in the door?
Absolutely. That's what they're there for. That's why they're in D.C. on 14th Street. That office will definitely facilitate that, set up meetings, and help us put together packages for those meetings. That's what they do every day. They're located right there. David Goldwater, not only will he be helping us there, he'll be glad to come here and meet with us and form that strategy here. He will be involved from day one in that effort. You ask if we would contact the lobbyists. We've already done that. We've talked to Tommy Carden. We talked to Michael Good. We've talked to those people. We stand ready. I think we've got the resources here as well as D.C., and we, again, will deliver for you, just like we have on all your other projects we've been involved in.
Okay, and my concern is not y'all expertise, because like I say, I think you could do the job. My wonder is, how is your relationship with Madison County state delegates? Do you have a good relationship with, I guess the speaker be headed out soon, but other members that that have a portion of Madison County or have all Madison County?
Well, you mentioned the speaker. He and I go back decades. We were on the school board together. We worked together and moving that district we represented together. But yes, we will have those connections in the process. Well, lobbyists, they definitely are wired with them. They work with them all the time, which is how you got the funds you got. So that will be our connection, but we will continue to enhance those relationships.
Okay.
Other questions or other statements from the board members? Thank you, John. Very good.
Board, we appreciate we appreciate the chance to be in front of you today and tell you about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Greg, I'm sure Tim's out there looking.
Mm-hmm.
All right, our next engineers group to present will be Wagner Engineering. And they brought Darian up for sympathy votes, so I think he'll begin.
Yeah.
And then after that, we'll let his team speak.
There's no sympathy votes in this place today. It's all about money today.
Oh, man.
Hey, Darian, so what'd you do to your leg?
I ruptured my Achilles tendon.
Oh, yikes, that's bad.
Yeah, but don't believe that, Sheila.
Huh?
He stayed out too late.
Oh, is that what it was?
Wife took care.
All right, Darian. State your name and company you represent.
Yes, sir. My name is Darian Warren. I serve as a senior project manager for Wagner Engineering, which is the company that I'm representing here today. We'd like to thank you all for the opportunity to come before you and present our qualifications as it relates to the Cotton Blossom Road Connector project. And so before we get into our presentation, I'd like to introduce the colleagues that I have here with me this morning. So I have Zach Adams, who is our Vice President.
Tell him come on around so I can see him.
Come on up, Zach. And
he's the Vice President of our Central Mississippi region. I also have John Ronzaville, who is our Vice President of Strategic Services. I have Miles Williams, who is our Vice President of our Transportation Discipline Group. And I also have Mr. Eric Jefferson, who is our Discipline Manager of our Planning Discipline Group. And I also have one of our valued partners who is here with us today, Mr. Zach Parchman, who is one of the associate principal owners of Pickering Firm. So just to let you know, Mr. Eric Jefferson and Miles and Zach, they will be working side by side If we are awarded this opportunity, they will work side by side as it relates to the planning and design related to this particular project. And so you'll hear a little bit more from Miles as it relates to the transportation piece. But before I turn it over to John, who's going to also talk about our strategy as it relates to funding, we want to make sure that we let you all know that this project is important to us because Madison County is home to many of the families and friends of Wagner Engineering. And so because of that, this is not just a normal project for us. This is a project that is close to us because it helps transform the communities for which many of our families and our friends reside in. So with that, I'll ask John to come up and talk a little bit about our funding strategy.
Thanks, Darian. Good morning, Board. I'm John Ronsville. I'm the Vice President of Strategic Services at Wagner Engineering. And with our Strategic Services group, outside of traditional planning and design services that most engineering firms offer, we focus on policy and funding strategies to support our client projects. It's been mentioned already how critically important that funding is for this process, but truth be told, you know, for public infrastructure, public funding support to complement your own local dollars is critical with respect to any infrastructure project. We do have a track record of supporting clients throughout the state, and particularly supporting Madison County with your public infrastructure initiatives. We meet monthly already with your existing team, several of you board members, Mr. Espy, Arnie Hederman, and Michael Good, and Tommy Carden at Butler Snow. We meet monthly to discuss your ongoing strategic funding initiatives associated with your ongoing projects. And that has delivered results. So we have a proven track record of doing that. Just over the last 2 years, statewide for our Mississippi clients, we've been successful in supporting our clients in achieving $97 million in state funding and another $87 in federal funding over the last 2 years. Madison County, we've supported with the team that y'all put together. Similarly, you've seen about $46 million in federal funding. That's $26 million coming through the NRCS to support your watershed program. Another $10 million authorization through the Section 219 core program that you received in December that we're requesting funding for this year. And then another $10 million for the Bozeman Reunion System for FY23. Of course, that was split between two provisions, 3 which came from the House from Congressman Guest, and 7 which were supported by Senator Wicker and Senator Hyde-Smith. So we've got that proven track record of working with your team to support your strategic funding needs, both at the state and federal level. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions about those services. I do need to mention, some of y'all have met Brandon Elsner and worked with him. He runs our DC office, former staffer for Senator Wicker, who's now on our team and has been with us for, this is his second funding cycle to support us. So with that, that's an overview of our approach, what we've proven we can do for you. I'll turn it over to Miles Williams, who runs our transportation division at Wagner. Thanks.
John, thank you. I do have some questions about funding, but I want to wait to the very end.
Okay.
With other questions as well that may be, so we'll just wait to the very end.
Thanks, John. As Vice President of Transportation at Wagner, I just want to take a couple of moments to tell you about our transportation department and the growth that we're in. Wagner's always provided innovative solutions to help solve the transportation problems and issues that the communities we work for face. We're problem solvers. We understand the technical requirements and needs of a project just like the one under consideration. In fact, we've delivered several similar projects. Reunion Parkway, Highland Colony Parkway, just to name a couple. These two are also LPA projects. Our transportation department is growing. We're growing because you're growing. Mississippi is growing. Our clients can depend on Wagner to deliver high-quality transportation planning, design, and construction management services. In fact, over the last 6 months, we've added 70 personnel to the Wagner team, of which 30 of them are transportation qualified folks. We're very excited about that. We're in position to provide the right team with the proper technical expertise and the capacity to be successful on delivering this project. We don't just perform municipal contracts. Wagner is the prime consultant on a MDOT road design IDIQ contract currently, and I'm proud to say that we're on time and on budget on 4 projects that we've been awarded under that contract. So that's a little summary. Now I'll turn it back to Darian so he can speak to you about our familiarity with Madison County and the LPA process. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Darian?
Yes, sir. So just to close out, you all are aware Wagner has been around for many years. Wagner was founded in 1976, so we're roughly around 47 years strong. We've been a partner in Madison County on several of your infrastructure initiatives, and so we've greatly enjoyed that partnership that we've been able to form over the years, and would like to continue to be able to nurture that relationship in implementing your infrastructure priorities. We all know and understand that the LPA process is going to be a centerpiece for this particular project, and because of that, we know that it is important to make sure that our staff is fully aware of the LPA process, and one way in doing that is to make sure that our staff continues to get the training that is needed to stay up to date on any changes with the process, and continue just to revisit or enhance our knowledge as it relates to that process. So we do have staff that are certified in the LPA process, continue to get more staff certified, and to continue to maintain certification, just continuing to get that education accomplished. And so with that, in closing, we would like to say that Wagner, we are local, and we are ready to continue to serve Madison County in all of your infrastructure needs. And so we're here to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay. Questions from the board?
My first comments are, I think, at least I know you are a good engineer company, can do good work, but I know y'all doing work for us right now. If you all were to get the Cotton Blossom engineering contract, we'll be going to the state and to Washington, D.C., and it might be an unfair question, but I want to hear the answer from one of y'all. We got all these other projects going, reunion, 1, 2, 3, 4, might be 5. We gonna have Cotton Blossom going. I don't know how we gonna divide it up yet, Carl, whether it's gonna be 1, 2, 3. But we asking our state delegates for money. Just say we asking $10 million for Cotton Blossom and $10 million for one of those other reunion projects. Same way going to Washington. Do you all have any idea how would you all approach our state and fellow let the governor, our fellow, let me get it right, our fellow delegates on how they would go back funding that? Because we asked them for money on both sides, 2 projects in Madison County, and all our constituents deserve that money. So, but it got to be divided some way. Since you stepped up to the plate, so you're gonna answer.
Yes, sir. I'll take a swing.
If you understand exactly what I'm trying to ask.
I think I do. ideally, I would love to say, that it won't be any problem at all. In our experience, we represent multiple counties that have multiple projects going on at any one time. Ideally, we want those to be in different disciplines, like within Madison County. Bozeman Reunion System, transportation project, your watershed program. They're involved in different funding streams, different agencies, right? They're not competing against one another for that same minute pot of funding.
Probably will be.
These will compete. So ideally, at least on the federal side, your federal funding cycle will follow the year. Like, last year you asked for funding for Bozeman and Reunion. You don't get that money till 18 months later, typically. Y'all go to DC and make your request January, February, March-ish. Committees do their work. Hopefully the bill's passed by the end of the year. You go to the agencies, and you've got funds available to draw down once those funds have been allocated to MDOT or to the respective agency. With Bozeman Reunion, hopefully we'll have it completed by the time you're ready to actually receive funding on the Cotton Blossom project, because those cycles will follow each other. So, if you ask for federal support in 2024 for the next cycle, those funds will be available through the FY25, the following year's appropriations budget. So that's how that's how ideally we would keep two transportation projects from competing against each other at the federal level. The state's going to be different, but the same idea applies. You typically would not want two transportation projects, priorities competing against one another, because then it's what child do I love more, and that's hard to do. But you can still make the request, but again, the same thing applies. Hopefully, you'll be finishing up on the Bozeman Reunion System when it's time to start making those bigger asks for funding for Cotton Blossom.
Okay. Any of y'all got any comments on that question? All right.
John, before you leave,
yes, sir.
And I agree that, and we've said this to the other engineering firm, both firms are good. Yeah. There's no doubt that either firm can do the job. To me, it boils down to the finances, because we just had an update that we're 45, 50 million, gap on the 4 projects that we have on the south end now. And so money is very critical for us to continue to get help from our state and federal representatives. Y'all are doing the Reunion Crossing, the bridge. Tell us a little bit about how much money you've gotten or helped us get there, and from the state or from the feds.
Yes, sir.
And how you managed to do that.
Well, I'll start by saying y'all put together a great team. At the state level, both with Butler Snow and Clearwater. I'm friends with those guys. We have professional relationships. We have personal relationships. Same with the federal side. But we are able to, just for Bozeman Reunion, and we'll just, and I use them kind of interchangeably, because whether or not we're directly involved with the project, we still support Tommy in helping him put requests together. But y'all know our process. We take a team approach, help put together your briefing materials. What we're able to do that maybe your lobbyist is not able to, we're able to provide that technical support beyond just a funding program. Mm-hmm. It's important to know how these projects work on the ground, not just where the check gets written from in an account in DC, and being able to be that glue to both advise the client, mm-hmm. but also advise your lobbying team on just the components of the program and what that looks like when it hits the ground. A good example is with the new federal appropriations process, you're seeing a lot more, whereas 10 years ago, before they banned earmarks the first time around, your engagement was pretty much exclusively between your client and the delegation, the member's office. They cared about what the Corps thought or what DOT thought, but there was not a lot of interaction. Now with the new transparency rules associated with congressionally directed funding, there is a tremendous amount of engagement going on between the congressional offices and the agencies, either through Brad White directly or Brad to us or the Corps of Engineers. You know, the Corps wants to know what your request is going to be, whereas used to it didn't matter. It was just between you and in your congressional office. And then the Corps just found out about things on the back end. But that's the biggest thing, is just the engagement between the offices and the agencies themselves. And we're able to kind of serve as a middleman in between those, because we know what your priorities are and we know how the agency program works. So we can facilitate that with y'all, with Tim, with Tommy, and everybody has a picture of what's going on. So in addition to just supporting you with research and materials that support your lobbying team, that's another critical area we play in.
Yeah. And I know that Wagner does a lot for us on the research, working with Darian and the team there. Especially on the projects that we have going now on the south end and the internet, and also the watershed projects.
Yes.
With that being said, but thank you. Any other questions to John?
Well, let me add this. You asked me specifically about dollars, and I didn't answer that part of the question. But again, it goes back to your team. I'm not going to stand up here and say that we're lobbyists. We're not lobbyists. Right. We want to support our client with whatever they need. We want to support your lobbying team with whatever they need. But success has lots of proud parents, right? Well, I won't claim that we're one of those proud parents, but with the team you put together, I think you did $2 million, $5 million, and then $12 million at the state level over the last 3 years. And then I believe the first year, once earmarks came back, congressionally directed funding came back, I would characterize that first year as kind of setting the table to come back with a request the next year. So y'all got the $10 million last year. And then you've got your request in for the coming FY. So I just wanted to add that in there. Total outside of total including your state and federal is what, about $30 million. Okay. Just on the transportation side.
Right. Okay. Thank you, John.
Yes, sir.
Darren, you want to step up? Any questions? Any final questions from the board?
Aaron's having trouble stepping off, bless his heart.
Roll up there, Darren.
What did you do to your leg?
Ruptured my Achilles tendon. Playing basketball. For the last time.
Okay. All right. Thank y'all for coming in and making the presentation.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Great presentation.
Two very good companies. A lot of money on the table. And so at this point here, just ask the board what their wishes are for that project.
Need them to step outside since we had everyone else step outside.
Chairman, could I be heard on once they leave?
Yeah.
Before they leave?
After they
No,
leave.
he wants
Oh,
them to
after they leave? Okay. You can, but I mean, we still in the open public meeting.
It's live.
That's why I want to speak.
Oh, okay. You can. Come on, step up, please. Yeah, I mean, it's not anything.
Well, we're in open session.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so, good morning.
Morning.
So this was unusual, where we had two bidders for a contract to appear in open session, but outside of the hearing of the other, we secreted them so they couldn't hear what the other, what they were saying. And we read the law on this. There were some who wanted to take this to executive session exclusively, and there were some who didn't. And we read the law on this, and I spoke with the administrator on this, and we decided this approach would benefit the public. We're both competing companies, whatever, fair hearing in public before this board, but to protect against disclosure of privileged information, and one knowing what the other one said, and one knowing what the resources the other had. We decided to do it in such a way to put one in a closed box, if you will, and to not hear. I think that was proper, because we could not find any waiver to the Open Meetings Act that would allow this to be done in executive session. So I think it's proper that we did it the way we did it. All right, so as your counsel, I would say this: clearly your decision must be made in open session, but your deliberations, I would recommend be in executive session, because we don't know what you're going to say, and we don't want to stop you from saying anything, but there may be someone who might make a comment that would border on privileged information, because you heard from both sides. And this could be described as an economic development project, Cotton Blossom Road. Plus, there were at least one firm, Wagner, that talked about the committee meetings that this board regularly has. Now, those committee meetings, those are not public meetings. They are closed meetings. There are two supervisors that regularly show at those meetings, because if there were three, then there'd be a meeting. But there are two, and those meetings have wide-ranging issues that are decided. Funding, who's going to do it, who's capable. And so I'm just saying to you, once you begin a discussion of the will and pleasure of this board who gets the contract, I believe the discussion is executive session appropriate.
Okay.
Then you come back here and make your decision.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
All right, thank you for that info. And board, you've heard our attorney, and as far as any discussions, other discussions go into executive session, and I'm in favor of doing that if need be. So
I'm gonna go ahead and go into executive session.
I mean, if that's the case, before we do though, I would like to go ahead and finish the agenda, because some may be waiting on the agenda to be finished.
That's true.
And we'll go into executive session, because I think there's another item that we need to do in executive session as well.
Oh.
And so we'll just wait to the very end if that's okay with the board.
That's fine.
All right, Mike, you're up next. Item 50.
Yeah. Thank you. This is a very easy one and a quick one. In our meeting 2 weeks ago, you approved an interlocal agreement between this board and Gluckstadt to improve 2 or 3 roads in Gluckstadt, and you approved it and was signed. Since that time, the Gluckstadt leadership reached out to me, and because it's they want to do it, they have 2 roads, they want to do it more quickly. And so we talked about a cooperation agreement instead of an interlocal agreement being the right process for both of us. And the difference is really time. An interlocal agreement that we've already passed requires you to sign at our meeting, them to sign at their meeting. The meetings at different times of the month. Then we got to wait for the minutes to be approved from both sides. Then once all that's prepared, both sides haven't seen what the other side did, then we send that to the Attorney General, a busy place, and sometimes they're not expeditious in reviewing and approving interlocal, which then has come back before us to be acknowledged. So we just thought to expedite this, they asked us if we could go to a cooperative agreement form. So I just simply edited the interlocal to request a cooperative, took out some of the relevant statutes and put in other statutes and AG opinion. We can do a cooperative agreement for this. This is what they want to do.
Okay.
They've already approved this, and I'm asking that you approve it.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion, Supervisor Banks. Do I have a second? I'll second it. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, Greg?
Morning, Board.
Good morning.
Three things for you today. First is item 51, which is the Madison Avenue Lower Elementary Playground. You may remember last meeting or a couple meetings ago, Ms. Maren Hutto stood where I am now and asked for the county's help with a playground for the Madison Avenue Lower Elementary School. After Mike did some research and we talked about it, we came to the conclusion that the board would need something from the school district in writing as far as requesting any county resources be used for that playground. Ms. Hutto has since submitted a letter from Dr. Melissa Philly, who is the president, or the principal, I'm sorry, of the elementary school, and that letter was ratified by the school board. So she now has a request from the school district. The nature of the request has changed somewhat. Right now, they are asking for the county to contribute labor for the demolition of the playground.
Okay.
I do believe if there is to be a next step, the next step would be to direct county attorney to pursue an interlocal with the school district.
Yes, demolition.
That was the request, yes, sir.
On motion.
Okay, what's the wishes of the board?
Sheila made a motion.
Yeah.
Okay, Sheila, you made a motion for approval?
Yeah.
Okay, motion by Supervisor Jones.
Second.
Second Supervisor Baxter.
Some more question. How much demolition have you put an eyeball on this here playground? What are they gonna be tearing up?
I have seen it, but not recently. It is a school playground. It would take a couple of days from the folks in the road department.
Okay. So this be haul off and all that type?
Yes, sir.
Have they asked the school board to participate, or do you know?
My understanding is it is outside of the school board's budget.
Outside of their budget?
Outside of their budget, so the PTA or PTO has solicited private funds.
With it being wet and all that, do you know, can they get to it? That's my concern, them going down there. I'm interested in helping this school, but can they get to it without their trucks and equipment falling up?
Would seemingly be possible. We would still be, it would be an interlocal, and as Mr. Espy just said, the interlocal process is not always expeditious, is probably the best way to put it. So we would still be a couple months out.
So it'd be summer.
So it'd be dry.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
That was my thoughts in the first place. I didn't think you want to go and tear up a playground while the kids were in school.
That'd be a small revolution.
During the break.
Okay.
Okay.
Other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
All right. Item 52 is board meeting video streaming. Right now, we stream through a company. We pay $2,500 a year for the privilege of streaming through that company. The $2,500 level of service is going away. The next level up is 10 grand.
All right.
And that was my thought as well. So that's why I'm here today. YouTube will let you stream it for free. We have already started a private YouTube channel to amass a library. It's not visible to the public. All of the board meeting stuff is still out there. But I would like your permission to pursue streaming on YouTube going after a year. We've already paid the $2,500 while we amass a history. We've got it going back to 2021 already. So I am asking for your permission to pursue that further for the next year and save 10 grand.
Got a motion by Supervisor Griffin, second by Supervisor Jones. All in favor? Say aye. All opposed?
All right.
Think we good to go?
Yeah, I think you pretty much covered everything. I was just gonna say that, as he said, all of this YouTube stuff are hidden links right now. We will continue to stream through live stream for the next 6 to 8 months, but I'm also streaming those videos to YouTube
to build up the background. And at some point, when IT and all of us get all this stuff squared away and ready to go, there will be an announcement on like the news wire that tells people how to get to that YouTube channel. If they want to watch it at that point on YouTube, they can.
Okay.
And as he said, we've already uploaded all of last year and beginning on to work on 2021 now, so that all of it will be out there.
Good deal. Thank you, Dwayne. Greg?
Item 53 is an order that was kind of a pro forma order from the Mississippi State University Extension Service. One of their employees is retiring or resigning. I think it's retiring. There is no change in the money. They just need this order passed so that they can hire someone to replace who they currently have.
Okay. Got a motion by Supervisor Jones, second by Supervisor Baxter. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, Nassan, Comptroller?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Item 54 is approval of the budget amendments and the end-of-fund cash transfers.
Make a motion for approval. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second, Supervisor Banks. Discussion? All in favor? Say aye. All opposed?
Items 55 through 57 is a general claims docket and 2 payroll dockets.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Got a motion for Supervisor Griffith, second Supervisor Banks. Discussion? All in favor? Say aye. All opposed?
Item number 58 is approval of the wedding report from the Justice Court.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion Supervisor Banks. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second Supervisor Jones. Discussion? All in favor? Say aye. Aye. All opposed?
59 is approval of the Planning and Zoning Commission, the per diem for the month of April.
I'll make the
I'll
motion.
make that motion.
And second Supervisor Banks.
No.
Discussion? All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item 60, Supervisor Baxter, would you take over?
And I'll make that motion.
Tell us what.
Okay. And item number 60 is approval of the Fleet Corps claim docket.
We got a motion.
I'll motion to
Second.
pay the gas.
All in
Yep.
favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Sheriff.
Okay, Mr. Lott.
He's sleep.
Mr. Lott?
He's sleep.
Thank you. All right, Sheriff?
Nothing to report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Jeremy. Old business? New business?
I don't have him.
All right, do I have a motion to go into closed termination?
Motion.
Got a motion Supervisor Jones.
I'll second the motion
Supervisor
to go
Banks.
into closed.
All in favor?
determination.
Aye. All opposed?
Okay.
We are,
We need that 5-minute break.
all right.
Okay,
Okay,
coffee,
that's-
coffee.